Now, they're assembling one of our combat vehicles from component parts. Attaching every single detail takes a lot of time. This model alone consists of approximately 82 separate parts. It's very complex. From the very beginning, when I considered different material types, I decided that our tanks would be made entirely out of metal. If we use some other material, the tank would lose its warlike look and would look unreal. My name is Ding Chen Fen. My English name is Jason. I'm the founder of a company that produces radio-controlled metal tanks. I was looking through foreign production on the internet, and I found out that tank fans have very few choices when it comes to very large models. This discovery kept me awake that night. I thought, aren't there people who would really like these products? So I started gathering material on this subject. We're all in China, and most of the data on tanks is kept abroad. Very inconvenient. We had to search for information and data on the internet. We also acquired reference materials from different museums and organizations, and by communicating with tank fans on the internet. We needed to gather extensive information on every small detail. There are thousands of individual parts in a real tank. In this area, we keep the large modules that are ready to be mounted. We store them here. Take a look at this module, for example. The window screens are already installed. So when we receive an order, we will mount this module on a tank immediately. Or let's take this piece. All its smaller parts are already joined. So we have a module that's more convenient and faster to use in the final assembly. I remember the first year well. We had no experience at all. We had no background in manufacturing. We had never been in a factory and didn't know anything about production. It took 3 months from the moment we drew a draft to the day a finished hull was complete. Then we spent 3 more years creating, developing, and upgrading internal tank parts, including electronics. Finally, we had our first official tank model. Here it is, the very first model. It took an enormous amount of time to produce it. That's because we strive for perfection. Later, I realized that there's something more important than vehicle appearance. The most difficult part is what's inside the tank, what makes it move. The first one looked great from the outside, but when this beautiful thing began to move, many details inside the tank would break down. I remember how our first tests went. Something broke down immediately. It took the whole day to fix it. After we fixed it, we put the model into the car and took it to the warehouse. We felt defeated. On the second day, we started testing once again. The tank broke down in 5 minutes. So again, we were left with nothing. Every time we had to change and fix something. It breaks, we fix it. It breaks, we fix it. It breaks, we fix it. By the way, these models are really heavy. It's quite problematic to move it back and forth, but this went on and on. Once, we contacted a well-known American tank fan. When we questioned him, he wondered, "Who are you? Are you going to make a real tank?" He wanted to make sure that we could do high-quality work and could handle such a task. So he decided to be our consultant. He asked us to send him the details we already had, so he could appraise them. We created, polished, and sent them to him. He received them and said they were excellent. He was very impressed. Our company doesn't manufacture products in huge batches. Everything is done by hand. Just like we're creating works of art. So it takes a lot of time to produce parts, refine the details, and assemble a tank. Every detail should be worked up thoroughly. Because even though the tank is very big, every part should be accurate. If we make a mistake in a small detail, we won't have an opportunity to rework it. This is a machine for wire sawing. Briefly, our process is as follows. Basic modules are created from the pre-processed materials. Then they get here for the next stage. After wire sawing, a part goes to the milling machine. All edges, chamfers, and circular holes are lathed on this machine. I remember that we started buying equipment after we had finished our work on the drafts. However, we were deceived, and it was impossible to use what we had bought, so we couldn't produce anything. None of us knew how to use that equipment. Later, we found a master craftsman, and he helped us buy new equipment. I gathered my employees and said, "We're going to work hard." We began to live at the factory. I lived there together with them. We didn't have a heating system there, no accommodation for living at all. I used to sleep on the couch in the office. It was awfully cold. When I woke up, there were little icicles on my face. I had never worked so hard before. But I had started this, so I had to go on. After a baby was born, I was rarely at home. I'm constantly busy, working hard to earn money. However, this doesn't completely coincide with what my wife wants. So now I'm trying to spend more time with our child. I want to teach him about how to behave in this world, how to fit in. You need to do what you like and do it well. And this will bring lots of happiness and joy in the future. There are a lot of details, and each one must be adjusted. This is a long process. There are plenty of small parts that have to fit together. Requirements for inner parts are the same as for the exterior parts. The lower part of the tank is the most important one, especially all details of the running gear. So after we assemble the lower part of the model, we can check if the other exterior parts fit it. Basically, it's a load-bearing piece. It's used to strengthen the tank's frame. This is a tank with electrical gearing. It moves at different angles, so the hull needs the integrity that this part adds. The tracks on both the left and on the right have independent control, so the controls are very responsive. Here, it rolls at full speed, or you can rotate it using the right stick. Left sticks are responsible for reverse and turning to another side. There are two control systems here. You can choose the direction of the turn. There's no other factory in the world that makes products like this. I mean, in this field, the production of full metal tank models. The most important thing for us is to do our job well. I think Jason is a very enthusiastic person. He directs his efforts to his passion, to his hobby. Luckily, we're alike in this. We've known each other since, well, it's an old story. We've known each other since 2004. We didn't have this company back then. We met in the world of commercials. He was the director of our commercial video, and I was the client. So that's how it started. From the very beginning of our collaboration, I realized that this man works really hard. And he made a strong impression on me. I'm not a person who wants to get immediate results. I want everything to be in balance. You shouldn't overwork. You need to consider everything carefully. I'd like to go to the North Pole and think about different things a bit. I want to find answers to many questions, to open something new inside of me, and then come back. This is not really my goal. I just think about it from time to time. When my wife sees this, she'll think I'm crazy. This is part of the Panzer III tank turret. A toothed disc is attached to the turret from below. This is the way it is in real tanks. I don't think we have this kind of disc here. I'm going to ask Xiao Zhen. Zhen, we have a toothed disc for the Panzer III tank turret? No? Yes, it's this disc. The turret is mounted onto this toothed disc. Small holes going around the bottom of the turret intermesh with teeth. Our factory can't do that type of work. So we have to ask another company that has better equipment to do that work. At this moment, we have more than 10 people working here. Mostly these employees are in the design department, including those who deal with assembling and market sales. Also, we cooperate with 3 factories. This is an external cooperation. If you count them, there are 40 to 50 people working on the whole production. I don't accept the superior-subordinate relationship. I don't like this division into levels. We've come a long way together. The shortest period I've known a person here is 5 years. The longest, more than 10 years. We meet every day, and they always help me. Concerning his leadership, I'm okay with it. We can be friends for our whole lives. I appreciate it a lot. We feel comfortable spending time together at work and in life. For example, we like to watch movies and ski. So I'm really glad to have a close friend like him. In our free time, we organize competitions in football, running, and badminton. My colleagues and I like to play different games about tanks. We play every day. But producing tanks is our main hobby. And no computer game can be compared with it. This is a soldier. It seems it's a soldier of the Hong Kong Army. He's produced for the 1.6 meter models. He fits them well. I think that the most interesting stage in the process of tank creation is mounting the external details. I like mounting them the most because we're making a real tank. It differs from its original only in size. Everything else is completely the same. It has the same rational design. We don't use welding to assemble the hull. All details are fastened and connected with each other. The happiest moment is when the full model of the tank is finally complete. When I was a little boy, my father made a tank for me. You know how he did it? He put a brick on the ground, made a clay ball, attached it to the brick, and put a stick into it. That's it. So simple. I played with this tank until I was 6. In childhood, we all want to grow up, enter a university. I passed that stage. The unknown future. I think it's the most complicated thing in our lives. Of course, it doesn't make us unhappy. We don't really suffer from it. It's okay. We accept this. However, we don't know how to plan our lives. I had many ideas I wanted to implement. But I only succeeded being a director in the advertising business. My passion for tanks can also be listed as a success. My other intentions, what I wanted to do, failed one by one. Up and down, up and down. Just like you can see in a line graph. Trucks are another line of vehicle models produced at our factory. These trucks were used during World War II to transport soldiers, armaments, and so on. After a number of tests, we developed this model and came up with this design of the roof, windows, and front. That was great. The design of the lower part of the vehicle was also changed. We made it more durable. Now its running characteristics fully comply with the requirements of our clients that love these kind of toys. Most of all, I like war movies, military movies. I believe that important aspects of society can be depicted in these kinds of movies. For example, bravery and the selflessness of the human spirit. You might say that a wish to make a film became the starting point of our cooperation. It's an idea that we've both had almost since we first got to know each other. We developed this idea during our work together. They go side by side. I want to express my views to people through such a film. So probably my movie will be about war. I don't want to show people what happens to many people. All those crowd shots. I want to tell the story of one or two people. How much is it? What color is it? This is for the external trim. Usually I use this. There's another type, but we don't have it today, I guess. And what is it? A modeling paste? Yes, it is laid on canvas, right? It is spread all over the canvas. Yes, I know. Is it easy to unstick? No, it cannot be unstuck at all. We've got other samples here. This is a bit better. You can make a deeper pattern here. This is the Panzer III, a German tank which is gray. It's covered with primer coating. Then we clean the surface of dust and rust. Now it's time to go to the next stage. During the service of the tank, some parts of the vehicle may become lighter. For example, these spots can lose their color under the sun. That's why we'll make them darker. My teacher influenced me the most. He taught me how to draw and then sent me to study in Beijing. He told me that I should enter university here. He used to say that a man should always strive for something bigger. If you don't succeed at first, it's okay. But I managed to enter the university on the first try. This teacher taught me his trade. The most important thing is always to remember how the tank should look in the end, because sometimes you can be too absorbed in the process itself. I didn't have enough patience at the beginning, but it came to me with time. I want my son to continue my business. There's a solid base for this. Perhaps he will build models that would be much better than mine. Although, I don't know whether he will want to go in this direction. Our son will start school this year. We plan to send him to a technical school. It moves faster than a real vehicle. We improved its speed so that it's more interesting to drive. In our tanks, we use tooth wheels. They're also used in real tanks, so our tank maintains its stability on the move. And you can feel this. Electronics control all parts of the vehicle, so you can easily regulate its speed. I like dealing with tanks. Also, I have a dream. I want to build a robot so that it could be used by the Army and the scientists in the future. This is my biggest dream. I like to make plans, set myself new goals, and develop myself.